Okay, the end of 2025 marks the end of an era at Berkshire Hathaway, actually an end of an era in finance, essentially. Legendary investor Warren Buffett is retiring today to look back on his impact and his legacy. Let's bring back our guest co-host, Ernest Wong, head of research at Baskin Wealth Management. And Ernest, I could see you nodding your head. Yes, he is a legend in the field. He's incredible.
Yeah, he's a legend in every sense of the word, where Berkshire Hathaway started it he made the acquisition in 1965, has compounded returns at 20% per year for about, I think, 50 years, if my math is 60 years.
Yeah,
my math is correct.
Yep.
Which is compared to the S&P 500, which has done about 10% throughout that period. And I think what is remarkable about that is just the longevity and the consistency of the returns, because every year there's good stock pickers who have good or bad performance, but to do this for 60 years, I think that there just hasn't been anybody else who has done this for that long.
And with everybody else probably looking and going, okay, what's Warren doing? And we'll copy that. And yet they don't see the same, they don't manage to keep track on what he's doing. That's incredible.
No, I think what people often forget about Buffett is that he was the original innovator for a lot of the financial concepts that we have today. So he created the first hedge fund. He came up with the idea of using insurance float to invest in stocks and make investments to increase returns that way. And he was the one who really popularized the idea of buying and holding great companies, which so many investors do today. So I think that all of us owe a debt of gratitude to Warren Buffett, not just for the returns he's generated for shareholders, but also for the lessons that he has taught everybody over time.
And what have those three things done? Like what's been the most important, you think, and what kind of an impact has each one had on it? Because you are a fan of him.
Yes. No. So I think at Baskin Wealth Management, I think we certainly have tried to structure our firm and adopt many of Warren Buffett's key investing principles. We only really try to invest in really high quality businesses that have asset-like characteristics that can compound capital at high rates for the long term. We try to minimize turnover, so we're not trading in and out of stocks. We really focus on strong fundamental research for the names that we own. And all of this really comes from Warren Buffett, where he was the first person to have done these things. And so I don't think what we would be doing would be possible without him really having taught all those lessons along the way.
And is it his research? What is it about him that has because he's managed to stay ahead of everybody else as well? I mean, nobody else has seen that 20% return for 60 years.
No, and I think that's the incredible part, because when he first started, it was a completely different era for the financial markets, where there were no Bloomberg terminals. You cannot access company filings on the internet. Like, he was picking up the phone and calling executives and doing research kind of the old-fashioned scuttlebutt way.
Yeah.
But as the markets have evolved, he managed to keep up and evolve his own investment process to catch up to evolve with the times. And so I think one of the remarkable investments that he's made is his Apple investment, which he made in, I think it's 2015, at the age that he did it at. And given what we know about his investment philosophy, it was a shift towards a less proven type of business than he had done in the past. And so I think that reflects a remarkable amount of mental flexibility on the part of Buffett.
And it just shows you can have all the information in the world. In the end, though, it almost comes down to intuition, doesn't it?
It really does. It comes down to having the experience, which obviously Buffett has had. It comes down to the fundamental work that you've done over the years to build up knowledge to prepare you for what is coming ahead.
And now Greg Abel is replacing him, but of course Buffett's still involved. How do you think that'll unfold?
So Buffett has publicly said that he will no longer appear at the annual meeting. He's no longer going to be writing shareholder letters to shareholders. But he will remain as the chairman, providing guidance to the incoming CEO, Greg Abel, who we think he's going to do a terrific job. He's already made some changes to the business. has a new CEO of Geico, appointed some new division heads, and brought in somebody that he knew from the utilities business to be his CFO. So I think 2025 was a year where Berkshire Hathaway is transitioning to this new era, and we hope to see more of that going forward.
Okay, we're going to leave it there, but an amazing